Okay, so thank you everyone for sharing how you work and what challenges you face. I hope it was interesting even for others. And let's move on to the next part, which is talking about concept mapping, actually. So I will say a few, let's say, theoretical things, and then we will move on to the example where you will see it in action, and it will start making sense. But I think we need a few theoretical introductory sentences before we move on to the practical things. So the idea is that when you start writing, when you like go right into the writing without any preparation, you have to kind of solve two problems at one time. Like you have to think about what you want to write about, thinking about the message you want to get to the readers, about the ideas that you want to share in the text or the topics you want to write. That's the problem one. And the problem two is how to write it. We have, I think one of you said that's the bigger challenge of how to use the right words, how to put the idea into sentences. So that would be the problem number two. And if you jump right into the writing, you have to deal with both these problems at once, like this guy on the photo who has even four problems at one time. And of course, for some of us are great multitaskers, and maybe some of you can deal with it, and you're okay with this approach. But for many of us, at least for me, this kind of approach causes that I lose focus when I try to write and think about what I'm going to write in the next paragraph or next chapter. I tend to switch between these two things, and I lose focus. I tend to not to stick on the topic that I want to give to the readers. Okay, so obvious solution is to first create an outline before you start writing. That's probably nothing extra new, and like classic bullet point lists. That's something that all of us probably have used or know about it. But there are other options. There are different ways of how to create an outline before you start writing, or before you start recording a video or producing any other kind of content. So if I use this analogy of a building, then we could say that using a bullet point list or written outline gives you some kind of representation or idea of what you will write, but it can be quite vague. Similarly, with mind maps, they give you like more expressivity. Like you can add colors there. You can use different layouts. You have two dimensions, not just a single list of items. So it gives you kind of a better, or it can give you better idea of what you want to write about. But then there are concept maps, which you can imagine in this analogy like this, that it can give you not only this vague idea that, okay, I want to write about the roof and the doors and the windows, but in a concept map, you can actually create a more exact plan of of the topics and the ideas that you want to write about. It basically gives you more, or enables you to represent the ideas at a higher level of detail. And if you prepare a more detailed outline in the beginning, it means that you can focus more in the next phase, focus more on the words and the sentences, because you already have a clear outline, and you don't have to think about the ideas, but you think about only about the sentences. Or in other words, concept map enables you to achieve more clarity, to like clear your mind, because they more naturally reflects what's on your mind than bullet point lists or mind maps. So then you can focus even more on the writing part when you actually start to write. Like you can sort out the ideation, the whole ideation process before you start writing with concept maps in a better way than with just a bullet point list. Now, of course, there are some aspects, like it's a visual tool similar to mind maps. So for some of us, visual tools don't work, because some of you maybe work only with text and are happy with that. So it might not be for everyone, but for those where concept mapping works, it can be a much more powerful tool than just a bullet point list. But the general idea is the same, that you prepare an outline before you start writing. So if I exaggerate it a bit, we could say that concept map is like an outline on steroids, because it enables you to first freely gather the ideas, like in brainstorming, to more clearly formulate the ideas, filter out those that you don't want to use, and think about how to connect those topics and ideas that you want to write about in a particular article or a blog post. And in the end, it gives you quite an exact plan what to write about, so that you can focus on the writing itself. And as a kind of bonus, the concept maps represent a visual summary of the article, so that you can use it, for example, if you are sending the article to some blog, you're trying some guest blogging, and you want them to see the topics the article is about, they can use the concept map to get the quick idea of the content without reading the actual text. Okay, so I have used concept mapping for many different scenarios, like apart from writing blog posts or other web content. I used it for writing emails. I used it to structure this webinar. And a few years ago, when I was writing PhD thesis, I used it for that also, to outline the thesis. Okay. So now more about how concept map look like. So I have an example right here, but I will open it here in another window so that can zoom in. So this is actually a concept map about concept mapping. So we can see that the principle is similar. We have these kind of bubbles here, like in a mind map. Maybe I could again ask if there is anyone who don't know mind maps at all. Let me know so that I can explain explain more. But otherwise, I will assume that you have seen some mind maps before, and you have the general idea about that. So similarly to mind maps, we have these bubbles here, which in a concept map are called concepts, and we have links between them. But the main difference is that there is much more emphasis on the links, because in a concept map, you always try to think about the nature of the relationship between the concept, and you try to describe the relationship in the concept map, which are these labels on the links. So that's one difference. And the other one is that you have more freedom in terms of layout, in terms of where you put the bubbles and how you interlink them. So although there are some recommendations, like that concept map should ideally follow like this kind of hierarchical layout, like starting from the top and then branching out to the bottom. But it's up to you, and you can place the concepts anywhere on the map and place the links also anywhere, and do this kind of cross links. So you don't have only the links in the hierarchy, but you can freely connect different parts of the map. So that's about the principles. Concept maps are basically the same age or similar age as mind maps. They were invented by Professor Novak at Florida Institute for Human and Machine Cognition, sometimes in the 70s, I think. Originally, they were used to support learning or as an educational tool, because they can provide a very good overview of how different topics, how different terms are related, and they can help you achieve this so-called meaningful learning, where you actually understand the relationships between different terms, between different topics. You can see it as an opposite of rote learning, where you just memorize things, memorize definitions. You can like write them down in a test at school, but you maybe even don't know what the definition says, what's the meaning. You just memorized it. So that's rote learning. And the ideal opposite is meaningful learning, where you build your knowledge structures in this way, where each new fact, each new term is linked to what you already know. But when you are writing, when you're a writer, then very often your work is basically to educate the reader, to explain something to him. So in a way, it's still somewhat related to education when you're a writer. Obviously, not when you are a fiction writer, but then again, it's still valid that the concept map, at least according to the research, can very naturally represent the way we think in a similar way as mind maps. What's also important is that the most important thing about concept mapping is the actual process of creating the concept map. So it's when the concept map is finished, or you are looking at a map created by someone else, that might be also useful. But the magic happens when you create the concept map, when you think of which concepts to include, when you think about how to put your thoughts into the concepts and how to interlink them. So it basically forces you to more deeply think about the ideas you get, and that might on the one hand like empower your inspiration or creativity, and also improve your understanding of the topic, so that you can then write more clearly. No, and of course, when you finish a concept map, it gives you quite, or it can give you quite clear path on what to write, because every pair of concepts and the relationships between them basically represent a sentence or a paragraph. If you can see that here is one sentence, like concept map is similar to mind map. Another sentence, concept map puts more emphasis on relationships, and so on. So each of these triples, the two concepts and the relationship between them, each of these are like building blocks of the mind map, of the concept map. And you can then, when you finish the concept map, you can take each of these building blocks and one by one turn them into sentences or paragraphs in your article. So we should see this in action, yeah, right, in the next part of this webinar. Okay, and then yeah, so that I don't forget anything, concept maps can also help you take notes when you do topic research. Basically, when you do topic research, it's the same like studying at school, and concept maps were proven a great tool for taking notes at school. And okay, let's not talk about these things right now. Yeah, here we have some benefits, but I already spoke about it. So let's move to the next part, if you don't have any questions. Okay, let me just okay, open the right window. Here we go. So let's move to the example. By the way, I'm using this Context Minds app, which brings me to this thing. I should say before we start. Of course, to create a concept map, you can just use pen and paper, like with mind maps, but it can limit you. The size of the paper can limit you, and yeah, you have to just throw away the paper and start from the beginning if you need to redo the map. Or you can use any software drawing tool or diagramming tool, but it won't support you much in the concept mapping. You can use mind mapping software to create concept maps, but they might not give you enough freedom because they will force you into the mind mapping structure or mind map structure. So obviously, I'm a little bit biased being involved in the development of Context Minds, but for me, definitely the best way is to use concept mapping software to create concept maps. So software that was designed specifically for creating concept maps. And I think that apart from Context Minds, there is only one other such tool, which is CMap Tools. They are both very similar, but Context Minds has some advantages, like that it tries to give you suggestions on what to add into the map. We will see this right away. So let me just share the link in the chat. If you want to try this, you can do so at this link. Okay, so let's say we have a hypothetical example case when I want to write a blog post and I want to write something about working from home, because this used to be quite a hot topic during the pandemics. So before I start concept mapping or outlining my article, I should give it some name. But in case of concept mapping, this is a very important first step where we should not only come up with a general topic like working from home, like this, but I should already come up with some kind of what's called focus question, which will, as the name says, give me more focus on what to include and what to write about. So let's say in our example, instead of having this general topic, I would come up with a focus question of how to stay productive when working from home. Okay, yeah, that's because this is not the topic of this webinar. The tool can do some generation of the map automatically, but let's show the manual approach here. So we start from scratch, and we have just a blank screen here, and here comes the next phase, which is basically brainstorming the key concepts or keywords or topics that we want to use in our article. And so how do we come up with those? So they should be those concepts that we use to answer these questions. So we can start with the question where we already have two concepts. We have productivity here and working from home. Basically, when I say concept, it's the same as we can say keyword or topic. Okay, so I start with putting these two concepts to the map. So I have productivity. Now notice that I'm using a noun to name the concept. So instead of like be productive, I use the most basic form of the word. So rather productivity, because it's then more readable in the map, and also I can make use of these suggestions that the tool gives me. So productivity, first concept, and working from home is the next concept. Okay, and I can see there is a shorter word for this, telecommuting. So let's use that. Okay, next, I have included all the concepts from the question, and now I have to either brainstorm, or if I already had some idea in my mind, I would use that. But let's say I'm just brainstorming. I want to write something about it. I'm not sure what yet. So I can use these suggestions here given by the app. And yeah, let's say for me, procrastination is quite a big problem when I work from home. And let's say I recently read about this Pomodoro technique, which can be used to fight against procrastination. So let's say this could be the topics or the concepts that will represent my solution to staying productive and working from home in my blog post, in my example blog post. I'm not saying that it's gonna be a great blog post. We are here just to show the approach. So this could be already the key concepts that could already represent the core idea that I want to write about. But now I should also provide some more context, provide some related topics that will introduce the reader to these new topics. So, for example, I will want to explain more why I think that procrastination is a problem when working from home. So I would include this idea of distractions, that when you are at home, there are more distractions, so there is more risk of procrastination. Similarly, I could introduce the concept of telecommuting itself, that it means that you don't have to actually commute to work, and in order so the article does not start in a negative way right away, I could also include some benefits of working from home, like you can achieve better work-life balance. And since Pomodoro technique is something that the readers might not know, it might be a completely new concept, we should follow another best practice of concept mapping, which is including links to known concepts for those concepts that might be new to the readers. So here is something quite new. They might hear about it for the first time. So I should introduce some more general concept that will be related to it, so that the readers can quickly imagine something under this new term. So let's say I will say that Pomodoro technique falls into time management techniques, and this should give the readers some idea of what it is about. Okay, then this could be basically it. We have the concepts gathered. Notice that I just put them somewhere on the map, not yet thinking about the order or the layout. And I'm sorry, we are a bit bit late, but I hope we can finish this in a few minutes. It's quite simple. So I was not yet thinking about the layout of the concepts. I just put them down, and this comes as the next step after I have gathered all the ideas that I had. Okay, so, and to make it more interesting, let's say that I also had this idea. Oh, sorry, that I could also speak about that you can eat better when you are at home and you don't have to go to restaurants, and yeah, to say something about free time and so on, just to see that you can put down, like in brainstorming, you can put down any ideas that come up to your mind. I can even remember this book called Procrastinate on Purpose that says that procrastination can actually be a good thing sometimes. So let's say this come to my mind, so I put it in the map and leave it for later, whether I use it or not. Okay. So now let's say we have gathered the concepts and we are moving to the next phase when we arrange them. So starting from the top, where I put the main topic, and I can go from top to bottom roughly according to the way that I want to introduce the concepts in the article, and also placing concepts that are closely related, I will place them close to each other. You can see that I already kind of did it on like intuitively. So I will probably talk about the advantages in somewhere in the introduction. Then I will speak about the distractions leading to procrastination, which then reduces your productivity, and then introduce this Pomodoro technique from the time management domain, which can help you. So this can be somewhat preliminary layout of our map, and we can move to the next phase, which is probably the most important, and that is interlinking the concepts. So I can again start from the top and start linking as I come up with the meaningful relationships between the concepts. So this is simple. Telecommuting means no commuting. Again, I'm choosing simple labels for the relationships. So simple, but complex enough so that I can later use them for the writing, so that I know what's the meaning of the relationship. Okay. So next, the idea is that telecommuting helps you achieve better work-life balance, but means more distractions. Next, distraction leads to. Again, notice this simplification. If I want to be exact, I should say like distractions might increase the chance of procrastination, but I simplified it like this, saying just leads to, and procrastination decreases productivity, and Pomodoro technique can help against, or even better, I could just say helps against, and like falls into let's say just falls into time management. Now notice that I had finished the linking, and there are some concepts that I didn't interlink with the others because at this moment I'm not sure how to link them. For example, this book saying that procrastination can be good. I don't know where I would go with that with this topic, so I will just leave it here floating. And the same with this speaking about eating and leisure time related to work-life balance. Let's say I'm not sure right now how I would integrate these topics into the article, so I will just leave them floating around for later, and I will focus on those that I connected. Right, this is a very simple example, but in more complex situation, this linking helps you choose the topic. If you have like many different ideas of how you could outline the article, what you could include, this kind of helps you sort the ideas out. Okay, so if I'm not forgetting anything, this could be our map. I mean, we could use different layouts. There are some recommendations, but I would say that always the best way or the best map is the one that feels natural to you. So, for example, if you are more like if if you like more this kind of layout, like starting from left and going to right, go ahead and use that layout. Or if you are more kind of a mind mapper and like this kind of layout where you have the core topic in the center, you can use that. The most important thing is that the map feels natural to you. Okay. So when I have it finished, I could move on to the writing. So I would open some text editor, and okay, there are a lot of things, and I would just start with the writing while looking at the map, which gives me clear idea what to write about. And I can take, like I said before, I can take each relationship from here and turn it into a sentence or a part of a sentence here, like this. Now I can I have to, of course, think about choosing the right words and things like that, which the concept map does not help me with, but it gives me space to focus now only on the words when I have the ideas sorted out. So just to give you an idea, I would write like this: working from home, or like commuting because you don't have to commute to work. Might help you achieve better work-life balance, but it means encountering more distractions and so on. So I assume that you take the idea. It's quite simple and obvious. You look at each relationship, turn it into a paragraph or a sentence. Of course, it might happen that now that I'm writing, I get another idea which was not included in the original map. Then I can edit the map, like add another idea there, and then instead of like right away jumping into writing about it, I can enter it in the map and think about whether it fits there. Think about how I would connect it, and only then, if it feels good and meaningful, then I would write about it. Okay, so since we are over the original time limit, let's switch to a recap of the process. So it goes like this. First, you define the focus question. So choose the topic of what you want to write about or what you need to write about, but try to turn it into a focus question that gives you better idea of how to build the map. Then you move on to gathering the key concepts. You start with the concepts from the focus question, and then you continue. You can either brainstorm or use your notes if you did some topic research and search for concepts there. And it's always good to add enough context, like these related concepts. Like if you remember, like I added this time management here to put into context this concept of Pomodoro technique. So that's quite important. Adding enough context. Then after you gather the concepts, you arrange them from top to bottom, and then you go into interlinking phase, which helps you sort out those ideas that you should use and those you should maybe leave for later. And when you have it interlinked, you can start writing. So open up text editor and look at the map, take each relationship and turn it into a sentence. Okay, so that was quite brief introduction. If you are interested, I prepared this whole e-course where you have pre-recorded video lectures. You have some assignments that you can do, because the best way to learn concept mapping, like already someone of you said, a good way to learn writing is just to practice writing. Similarly, best way to learn concept mapping is to practice concept mapping. So hence the assignments in the e-course. And if you do them, I will check what you created and give you some feedback, which you can further consult in a live session and get a certificate if you like that kind of things. Okay, it's a paid e-course, but you can get more than half of it discounted if you fill in this short survey. So if you want to actually learn this approach in more detail, I would highly recommend spending some more time. It doesn't have to be much time, just a few hours, and you can get it right, because as you see, it's quite simple. We just need some practice to master it. So that would be almost all. And if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them now. I will try to unmute you if you raise your hand, or if you can't. If you can't speak or use your mic, you can use just your keyboard and ask anything you need. Okay, thanks, Jakub. Okay, so maybe I'll see you at the e-course. Okay, so the rest of you who are still here, do you have any questions or remarks? I see a question about the software. So if you mean the one that I used here, that's it's a web app. Or maybe I'll show it here. So it works from a browser. It works quite well on even on mobile phones, although it's not like a mobile app yet. But you can use it. You can use it on Android also. Okay, thanks for the question. Any other? Okay, so I'm sorry for running out of time. I hope I didn't bore you too much. I will send you some follow-up email with the links and materials, so you can check them out later. And I hope I will see you in some other event, maybe in the e-course. That would make me very happy, because as I said again, this was quite quick introduction to the basic principles. But if you want to really learn it, then try this e-course, or just try to practice in the app. And if you have any questions later, you can just email me, and I will try to do my best to answer it. maybe there will be some survey that pops up after the end of the webinar. So if you have like 1 more minute, please fill it in, and that will be also very, very helpful. Okay, thanks again for being here, for all your questions, for all your answers, and I hope to see you somewhere later. Have a nice rest of the day and rest of the week. Bye-bye.